Hi everyone, I'm John and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to cover about the Taiwanese and Chinese strained relationships due to the recent visit by the US House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi on the 2nd of August. As an investor, we like to know, what are the things that we should either risk manage better or look at the other opportunities that other investors may not be looking at. And I'm going to talk about them in this video. Also, as a bonus, if you stay till the end, I'm going to get you to guess which US president sold the most weapons or arms to Taiwan. So if you want to know who that is, stay till the end of the video and I'll reveal that to you. So if you've not been following Twitter or the social media space recently, I'll just give you a brief. Twitterville has been abuzz with Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan on the 2nd of August. There were even memes of, it's so funny, fighter jets actually shooting down Nancy Pelosi's official plane. But a little bit about that, more about that later. It's also going to show how different people from outside of Taiwan and different people from inside of Taiwan actually perceive or social media as a buzz with the perception of what's going on. As you can see on the left, there's according to social media in Taiwan, it's about food, about culture, about tourism. And outside of Taiwan, you see fighter jets, you see war, you see heightened tension, about war. The joke is right now as well that Nancy Pelosi is a far better investor as compared to the world's best value investors like Walter Schloss, Bill Ackman. There's actually a Twitter handle called Nancy at Nancy Tracker on Twitter that actually tracks her portfolio. It's recently been banned. I just found out while doing research for this video. And Nancy Pelosi apparently is doing a 69% compound, which is much better than all these great value investors around the world. So something in between the lines that you want to read to as well as an investor. So a quick brief about Taiwan. It's an island located mainly in the southeast of China. It's separated by a very narrow strait called the Taiwan Straits, 130 kilometers between mainland China and Taiwan itself. Population about 24 million, very high GDP, one of the highest GDPs per capita in the world. As of 2021, they did 774 billion, and GDP per capita, as I said earlier, is one of the highest in the world. Life expectancy there is very good, 81 years old, and predominantly spoken language over in Taiwan is in Mandarin. So I'm not going to go through a very deep insight about Taiwan's history. There are various other sources that you can refer to on YouTube, and they're very, very good. But I'll just give you a brief overview of what actually happened. The People's Republic of China has been established since 1949, and that is what China as we know of it today. However, the Republic of China, which is known as Taiwan today, was established by Sun Yat-sen in 1912. Apparently, the Kuomintang of China and the Communist Party of China, they have been at civil war for over, 20 over years, from 1927 to 1950. And sensing defeat, the Kuomintang actually retreated to Taiwan and established base there, and they set up what we know today as Taiwan. And because of this conflict, the Communist Party of China, which founded the People's Republic of China, actually banned a lot of countries from dealing with Taiwan and recognizing it as a sovereign state. And there's only 15 countries in the world that recognize Taiwan as a sovereign state. Countries that are not very significant, like Vanuatu, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, even the Holy See, the Vatican City does recognize Taiwan as a sovereign state, but there's not much trade in between them. So therefore, Taiwan has always had a problem of trade relationships, being recognized as a sovereign state, even getting credit rating because of China's One China policy. China believes that Taiwan should be reunified back to China, even if it includes the use of means of force. And Johnny Harris did a very, very good video on it. You should really check it out. Talks about, he actually examines the documents that China has actually written about the reunification of Taiwan. So in terms of trade, how does Taiwan actually fare? They're actually a very export-driven economy. Obviously, for those of you who have been invested in the global market, you would know that Taiwan is one of the largest producers of semiconductor in the world, so I wouldn't go too deep here. As you can see, in terms of exports, a lot of it are electronics, office machine parts. Actually, what was interesting was I found out that they produce a lot of nuclear reactor parts as well. In terms of export destination, China is their largest trade partner in terms of export, followed very closely. Not half of it actually goes to US, but US is the second largest export destination for Taiwanese products and services. I hope you're liking what you're seeing and viewing so far. And if you do like it, do consider subscribing to my channel, give it a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let your friends or family members know, especially those who want quick but concise, well-researched content for their investing mindset. The signing of the Economic Cooperation Framework Agreement really enhance cross-strait trade in between the two countries. As you can see, as of 2020, it was worth 166 billion in terms of imports and exports alone. And Taiwan, as we all know, world number one electronics. As you can see in the middle, custom IC fabrication, IC testing, they made up a bulk. Cholera was pretty interesting, 903 tons. And I'll show you more when I come to the largest market cap listed companies in Taiwan and what do they do. They're number 2 worldwide, no surprise as well. A lot of it in electronics, chip manufacturing, printed circuit boards. As I mentioned earlier, their GDP per capita is one of the highest in the world, and most of it is derived from services and their industry. Agriculture do make up a small part, but I think arable land is of a concern in Taiwan. They're from a small island, a little bit more dense, and I think most of it has been dedicated to manufacturing of electronics. So now I'm going to talk about the top 15 largest companies by market cap in Taiwan, and some of it are usual suspects. Some of it are interesting industries that most would not have considered it to be based out of Taiwan. So obviously the first one, TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, the market cap is almost 10 times larger than the second guy. So, Hon Hai Precision or Foxconn is roughly about 50 billion, whereas TSMC has 465 million in terms of market cap. Obviously, most of you will know them as one of the largest semiconductor wafer manufacturers in the world, and they deserve to be there. But what I'm going to take a look a little bit is the industries that are usually not really associated with Taiwan or is not on the headlines. One of it is Formosa Petrochemical. I did a little bit of digging and I found out they are one of the largest PVC producers in the world. So if China does choose to invade Taiwan, plastic resin prices may also suffer. Obviously, the first industry to suffer will be chips, and if you know chips, not potato chips, but semiconductor chips. As you know, there was a supply glut. No, there was a demand. High demand of semiconductors during COVID because the acceleration use of electronic devices. And in this case, if Taiwan gets invaded, I think the entire supply chain will be affected even more because it's really at the heart of where chips are manufactured. 60% of the manufacturing capacity of advanced semiconductors are in Taiwan. And it's not just TSMC, it's the other supporting industries that are around TSMC in Hsinchu Tech Park. The third company, they became infamous, I think, not so long ago in 2021 because one of their ships actually blocked the Suez Canal. It was ran aground, and people don't remember the ship's name, but they remember the ship, the owner of the ship, which is Evergreen. And the Evergreen Marine Group is actually listed in Taiwan. It's the 11th largest by market cap. And if a war happens, hopefully logistics don't get disrupted, but inevitably it will. I think those are the other two industries, the petrochemical industry as well as the marine and logistics industries that are also likely to be impacted if a war does erupt in Taiwan. So, as an investor, how would you use this information to your advantage? There's actually two ways. One school of thought is those group of people that believe that with a war, there's going to be a huge spike in demand because of the disruption, especially to the semiconductor value chain. Whereas there's the other school of thought or the other group, which will be so risk averse that, because a war erupts, the value chain will be disrupted, and therefore there's going to be a slump in the share price in the beginning. So I rather be in a more cash position, prepare for the recession kind of thing. There's no right and wrong, but sometimes as an investor you gotta hit when the iron is hot. And while I'm not predicting that a war is going to happen, I leave that to the political analysts, those in international diplomacy, to figure that out. But as an investor, I have to be aware that at any swing of the pendulum, these are the things that I should be watching out for and place my bets accordingly. So, should a war erupt in between any country, who is likely to be a large benefactor of this crisis or scenario? These are actually weapons manufacturers or arms dealers, as we call them. And as I was digging, how much arms did the US actually supply to Taiwan, I came upon a very interesting fact. And I'd like you to take a minute to try to guess among these three presidents, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, or Donald Trump, between these three presidents, who actually sold the most weapons to Taiwan? So I'm gonna pause a second. I know you guys are gonna likely Google it. Yeah, have fun. But the answer is actually Donald Trump. And why I say Donald Trump is because even though if you look at the list, it's almost the same length as that of Bill Clinton. But you have to remember, Bill Clinton actually stood as US president for 2 terms, which means roughly about 10 years, whereas Donald Trump only stood for 1 term. So in that 1 term, he actually outsold Bill Clinton weapons to Taiwan. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting fun fact that I should include because I also went digging about the share prices of certain weapons manufacturers to coincide with Nancy Pelosi's visit. And yeah, Lockheed Martin actually went up a little bit, not by a lot, a little bit. But interestingly, Boeing did not benefit from the visit. And I know we all don't wish for war, but as an investor, we look at both sides of the lens. And knowing that US always has a hidden intention of selling arms to any conflict zone in the world, these are the likely benefiters that we as an investor lens should look at. Obviously, some of you may have certain moral values that may not want to invest in any weapons dealer, and I respect those choices. But to share with you a wide perspective of how we can actually look at things differently, these are two of the guys that actually supply arms to Taiwan. And hope you're liking the content so far. Every week, I'll try to post twice about investing content, about personal finance content, about business content, entrepreneurship content that I hope you guys will benefit, gain value, because it's also a learning journey for myself. So do consider to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you know new videos are fresh out for you. And I'll see you in the next video.